for joining. We just wanted to provide you with another update on Tropical Storm Cristobal, which of course is expected to make landfall here in Louisiana tomorrow. So just want to go over a few headlines with you. This is kind of what we are watching. We are under a flood watch. It expires early on Tuesday. We could see some minimal flooding. Know if you're in an area that does flood, as this storm could bring potential impacts to you. Otherwise, we're expecting the winds to bring some low impacts. We could see some down power lines and power outages as well as down tree limbs, but we are not expecting hurricane force winds. That means that winds will be below 75 miles per hour now. We're expecting the eye of the storm to make landfall inland on Sunday night. So just want to show you right now where that storm is currently located. It's about 310 miles southwest of the mouth of the Mississippi River. So it's sort of in the center of the Gulf. It has regained its speed. Currently it's at 50 miles per hour, moving north at about 12 miles. So this is typical. The storm was on land and did lose momentum. It lost some of its speed, but you can think of warm waters as kind of the source of energy for these tropical cyclones and for their development. And we've got those warm waters right now, so I just want to show you some of the current sea surface temperatures. With tropical systems, the water has to be at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit or more for at least the top 160 feet below the surface of the ocean for a tropical cyclone to further develop and to progress. And that's what we have right now. Our waters are well into the 80s. Some areas even in the mid-80s, 83 just to our south. So that's one factor that has helped this storm continue to progress. And another one is wind shear. So it is very important that we have low wind shear in order for these storms to develop. Now I'll take this back a little bit, and you can see right now there's very little wind shear in the ocean, over the ocean, and that's what's going to be the case once again tomorrow. And that plays an important factor because you can think of it like this. When we have large wind shear, that means that the wind speeds in the upper atmosphere are greater than the wind speeds at the surface. Then the winds in the upper atmosphere essentially cause the top of storm clouds to topple over. So that is pretty much why wind shear is an important factor in developing, and that's what we are lacking right now. We're lacking that wind shear, and that's why we're continuing to see the storm progress. So just want to show you what we are expecting as the storm continues to develop. It is going to regain some more speed due to the previous factors that I mentioned, but right now winds again at 50 miles per hour, moving north at 12 miles, and the pressure has also dropped to about 994 millibars, and we expect that pressure to decrease and we expect the speed to increase. So take a look. Sunday at 7 a.m. this system gains about 10 miles per hour in speed, and that's what we're looking at once it makes landfall. So we continue to see that storm progress, but once it does make landfall, we're expecting those winds to begin to decrease as that storm moves across the country. So notice on Monday at 7 a.m. that storm is mostly past our area. At least the eye has passed our area, and the wind speeds have decreased significantly. We're looking at 40 miles per hour, and eventually the storm becomes a tropical depression with winds less than 39 miles per hour, and then it just turns into a low pressure system, and it's gone and out of sight, at least for us. So just to show you where we're expecting landfall, don't focus too much on the center of the cone. The cone has decreased in size significantly, but don't focus on the center. Really, any spots that you see that cone, that's where the storm can land. So I'll show you a few spaghetti models and what some of the different models are saying as far as where the storm could make its landfall. So right now we're looking at areas right around Grand Isle, and as a matter of fact, that area is currently seeing a little bit of rain in the picture and some flooding as well. So if you do live in a coastal area, if you know anyone that does, then they may be affected by minor flooding, many areas under a tropical storm warning, as well as a warning for storm surge due to the impacts of this storm. So I'll show you what some of the models are saying as far as timing and landfall goes. So this is the European model, and you can see it's got a pocket of rain over Grand Isle right now, and I'll continue to move this model and notice the storm continues to progress. We start to see some rain in the picture tomorrow, and that just continues on. Now we're expecting the eye to move over land Sunday night shortly before midnight, and it's going to continue to move through the area, and we're continuing to see those rain bands even as it continues to push northward. But as we make our way into Tuesday, we start to see that system move out of the area. We're still looking at a few showers, but really none of the heavy stuff. So I'll show you the GFS. This is the American model, and it's not showing much of a difference between the European model. Right now they are both in agreement, but again, we are still one day out from the system making landfall, and anything can change. So this model does have the eye moving over land shortly before midnight as well, and we could see a few pockets of heavy rain, but same sort of scenario as we continue to make our way into Tuesday. We start to see that system move out of the area. Still looking at a little bit of precipitation, but still we are expecting the impacts of the storm to gradually diminish. Now I'll show you what we're talking about as far as rainfall totals are concerned. This is from the Weather Prediction Center. Over the next 7 days, we could see anywhere between 2.5 to 5 inches. Areas a little bit further to our west, less than 2.5 inches, but areas closer to the coast around New Orleans could see anywhere between 3 and 7 inches. Now, locally, these amounts could be higher depending on if you're in a thunderstorm or not. So it's very important to know if you do live in a floodplain, or if you live somewhere that's low-lying or prone to flooding, these could all tell you important clues about how your area will be affected tomorrow. And again, keep in mind that locally we could see some higher amounts. So we are under a flood watch through Tuesday morning, as I mentioned earlier. We're looking at between 3 to 6 inches widespread, but some areas could see 10 inches of rain. So now is the time to make sure that you move those outdoor belongings inside, not just for the rain, but because of the gusty winds as well. You want to make sure that you protect your belongings and move anything that could fly away or anything that could cause a hazard away. If you have any loose tree limbs near your home, you may want to cut those down just to minimize the risk of anything damaging your home. So this is the wind probabilities for tropical storm force winds. So this means that winds exceeding 39 miles per hour. We're expecting to see those tropical storm force winds Sunday, probably around noon. Now, what we're expecting, so wind gusts right now are about 65 miles per hour, and we could see those wind gusts tomorrow afternoon. So you do want to, again, make sure to bring your belongings inside. Now, even though we're not seeing those storm force winds right now, it is a little bit gusty. So I just want to show you outside. Few clouds in the area. Currently we're sitting at 87, feels like 92, but the reason why it doesn't feel so muggy and so sticky is because we're drawing in winds from the northeast. We're drawing in some cooler air, and wind gusts right now, or winds I should say right now, at 15 miles per hour. This number could easily double overnight and heading into tomorrow. So I just want you to keep that in mind again as we get ready to prepare for the storm. Now, something else I want to touch on, this is the third named storm of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. We are expecting this to be a busy year. To put things into perspective, last year we didn't see the third named storm until August. That is typically when we expect that to happen. Now, this storm is a little bit different. Typically we see tropical cyclones form off the coast of Africa and then they enter the Gulf. This, however, was an this was a Pacific storm, and as it moved over land, it regained some of its strength once it entered the Bay of Campeche, and it made landfall over Mexico. Then as it entered the Gulf again, it regained that strength. So that's just what makes this storm a little bit different. And another thing, it is pronounced Cristobal with the accent over the O. Many people have been saying, why this name? Well, to give you a little bit of context, the Atlantic hurricane storm names, or just storm names, come from the World Meteorological Organization, and they're given their names based on the countries they affect. So we've got English-speaking countries like the USA, we've got Spanish-speaking countries such as Puerto Rico, and we've also got French-speaking countries such as Haiti. And these are all places that can be impacted by tropical cyclones, and that's why we've got names like Hannah for English-speaking countries. We've got Cristobal for those Spanish-speaking countries, and we've also got names like Paulette for those French-speaking countries. So just wanted to give you a little bit of context on that, but just to recap on some of what I mentioned. Saturday, expect it to be a little bit breezy at time. As we head into the evening and overnight hours, winds will gradually pick up, and tomorrow we really start to see those tropical storm force winds enter the picture. Now tonight we could see a few showers. Rain bands are possible, and within those rain bands there's just a very slight chance that we could see a tornado, but don't focus on that. The chance right now is very minimal. But on Sunday, that is when the heavy rain starts to move in. So we're expecting it to be windy. We're expecting those tropical storm conditions. And again, a spin up of a tornado or two is possible. Just make sure to stay weather aware and follow along for updates. Now on Monday, again, heavy rain, a windy night, and it's going to be breezy as well. So Sunday and Monday are the main 2 days that we are focused on, but now is the time really to prepare. So one of the most important things is knowing your risk of flooding and storm surge. Are you in an area that typically floods when we do see heavy rain? Factors like this could play a role in what your area experiences tomorrow. So depending on that, you may decide to shelter in place. You may decide to shelter somewhere else. This is all up to you. Evacuation orders have not been issued, so really your plan is up to you. And again, make sure that everyone in your family knows the plan that you have for the system tomorrow. Again, we are expecting a busy season, so it's good to have a plan now just in case you need to use this plan a little bit later in the season. And just make sure that you have items such as a flashlight, a weather radio, so that way you can receive alerts as we get them. Also, another very, very important thing is to have extra batteries for those flashlights just in case power does go out. And again, we are continuing to give you these updates as we receive them, and we just want to help you to stay prepared and stay safe as we get through Tropical Storm Cristobal together. So we'll continue to provide you with updates, but as always, you can download our free BR Proud app. And again, now is the time to prepare for the system. We will continue to provide you with updates, and please feel free to ask us any questions if you do have them. I'm going to check now to see if there have been any questions. I don't think there are any questions right now. Let's see. So some people are asking about where we expect the system to make landfall. So I will show the spaghetti plot again. We're expecting it to be right around Grand Isle. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit on the spaghetti plots to show you kind of what we're looking at as far as landfall is concerned. So any of these models could be what happens tomorrow. Most of them are centered right around Grand Isle, and Grand Isle right now is already getting a little bit of flooding in the area, so coastal flooding is one of those possibilities, but I'll show you again. Let's see if I can go to one of our models and show you what they're saying, and I'll try to zoom in on this as well. So just to go over where we're expecting that eye to move, we're looking right before midnight for that eye to move overland tomorrow. So just to go over that again, you can see a little bit of heavy rain in the area, and then we start to see that eye move sort of towards the center. So center of Grand Isle, sorry. So again, that is sort of what we're expecting as of right now. But again, if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask them. We will continue again to provide you with updates as we receive them, and just make sure to download our free BR Proud app for more updates as we receive them. Our entire storm team will be here tomorrow to continue to tell you the latest of what you can expect, so just make sure to stay weather aware and stay safe. Thank you so much for joining.